Hi, today I want to walk you through the new Framing Styles editor, available in hsbDesign 29 for AutoCAD. You can start with defining your default inventory system. Here you can add beams and sheets from the beam and sheet catalog and link them as aliases to certain beam or sheet types. Once these are set and you start creating your walls, the alias dialog pops up, which allows to enable or disable inventory items for different element types. In this example, I'm not allowing the inventory items for Zone 2 and 3 because I don't need them in the interior walls. Every element type represents the aliases from the inventory, and they can be adjusted based on what you need for that element type. In the Zones tab, you can start defining your element by adding zones and manipulate the properties. You then have to pick the inventory alias to assign the correct sheets or beams to selected zones. The 3D viewer in the bottom of the screen gives a live view on the changes that were made and the objects that were assigned. Zone fillers are used to define the type of the zone. It's important to define if you want to have a beam distribution, a sheet layer, or battens, for example. The Rely On field is used to create dependencies between the zones. It's now possible to create different dependencies for each zone. In the Property field, it is possible to select the dimension, the alignment, gaps, overlaps, distribution, and many more. The Edge Detail tab allows to create details for every situation on the wall. It's possible to add objects from the inventory, assign beam codes, and link the position of the objects to each other. With the help of intersection points, offset, and rotation lines, you can start to sketch your detail. These lines are then used to apply tools like cuts, mills, drills, or zone offsets to it. It's even possible to add yes and no parameters or to make the values variable based on the input. In the connection area, you can find exactly the same detail editor, but representing corner or T connection. It's also possible to do 3 wall connections now. The same detail editor can be found for openings, but for the first time, it's now possible to attach different details on the left or the right of an opening. You can create multiple opening styles, details, and apply them to the architectural opening types, as we will see later. There are 2 ways to draw walls and attach the framing information to it. If you would like to start with native AutoCAD Architecture walls, you can do so and attach the framing information later in the process with the command add hsb data to ADT walls. You could also select the hsb wall icon from the ribbon and draw a wall which has the framing style already attached. To frame a wall, you could use the commands from the context menu or from the ribbon. If you have openings, windows, or doors in your wall, you can now use the native AutoCAD objects for that and place them in your elements. We have added a new dialog called Match Opening, which allows you to assign different details on different opening situations based on the rule and filter system. You can create rules that apply on the opening type, the AutoCAD opening style, the wall type, where the openings are in, the width of an opening, or the building level. Once these parameters are defined, you can select the opening detail which was defined in Framing Styles Editor to apply to that rule set. There is also the option to define a default opening detail, which will be applied to every opening that is not covered by a defined rule. Once you frame a wall, the details are applied accordingly to the rules to the element. The detail in use is represented in the properties of the opening. If you would like to use a different detail, you can find the Opening Framing Style property, which allows to select a different detail which will be applied to the element once you reframe it. Another new feature is the Persist technology. If objects from an element are deleted, added, copied, or the properties were changed, the changes now remain after reframing the element. If you want to reset these changes, simply delete the framing and reframe the element. In the coming months, we will also work on applying the same detailing system for roof and floor elements, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching and happy designing.